Welcome back to the NENNEMAN, the game devlog series. I'm your host Vinny Richberg, and last week we were talking about 6 characters, one of them being John Doe, who has some quite difficult platforming going on. Today I'm going to show you a bit of my progress on one of his levels, which takes place in this cave. So now John Doe should slide in from the left, and that's him. The background was lost during, you can imagine, that backup drive thing, and I managed to mostly recreate that by now. There is also some nice parallax going on, and believe it or not, the background doesn't exist in the game files. There is no texture file, no PNG, no JPEG, nothing. It's just some math and a shader telling the GPU to output that to your display. Shaders are a way to communicate to your graphics card what to output to your screen. Your average 1080p screen has over 2 million pixels, so your graphics card has to do a lot in parallel. That's why the Bitcoin boys like them, and that's also part of the reason why you can't afford one as of right now. Unreal Engine's material system is basically a dumbed down version of this, where you don't have to give a shit about buffers and some stuff which I don't know about, since I only mess around with materials. Let me show you what materials are pretty quick. So that's how your materials may look like. There is some output node over here, and this is the color which may change from pixel to pixel on your screen, and over there, most of the time, there is some world coordinates which relate to what has to be displayed where, and not gonna dig any deeper on that. It's quite boring. Most of the time I found myself screwing around until stuff works, and that's not very interesting to watch. Neither is it very helpful for anyone to learn that stuff, so I'm gonna spare you, and let's move on to the history of the nice blinky floor of this level. What you see right there is the plain texture of the floor. Well, it's not only a texture, it's 8x8 pixel tiles drawn on a grid. That's called a tilemap. We can apply a nice shader to that, which will replace those white parts of the texture with some nice static, which makes it a bit more colorful. Let me do that real quick. So vector noise, here we go. What applied to those white parts of the texture is called vector noise, which is a function within the Unreal Engine materials library that does 2 things for us. Firstly, it segments the world into individual pixels, or rather voxels, as the Unreal Engine is only dealing with 3D stuff, so it has to do that along every axis, X, Y, and Z. And secondly, it assigns 3 floating point numbers to each of those voxels. There is 2 things in the engine which is defined by 3 floating point numbers. Firstly, world space, X, Y, and Z. And secondly, RGB color. Well, there's often a transparency channel as well, but most of the colors in this game are only comprised of a red channel, a green channel, and a blue channel. As you can see, when I move from left to right, there's nothing happening there. It's quite boring looking. It's just colorful. You know, when you throw that particle of John Doe, there is a lot of color movement, which is totally not seizure inducing, and I don't know, feels like the floor has to move in some way as well. So let's move on to the next step, in which we are tying the brightness of those pixels to the X location of the character. As you can see, when I move from left to right, those pixels are becoming brighter when they are near our character, and they are darker when we are far away. The problem I have with this is that the pixels light up when they are perfectly aligned with the character's X position. X position, not X position. That implies that there is some perfectly smooth floor in the world. And if you watched some news within the last days, you might have noticed that the world's a fucking mess. So let's fix that and add some roughness to the floor, which we can accomplish by taking those random color channels from our noise map, which gives us those fancy colors, and use them as a offset in the X direction, which I'm gonna show you in a bit. As you can see, the pixels are lighting up a bit before or after the characters moved over them, which makes the floor look a lot more rough. That's quite fancy enough for me. So yeah, this week's video has been a short one. Hope you had a bit of fun, learned something about shaders and how your computer games work. Yeah, if there's any questions, let me know, and that's all for this fancy floor we have for John Doe, right? Hopefully see you around next time, like and subscribe, and see you around. Vinny out.